everyone, hope you all are doing great today. I have this eye thing going on for like the past week and it's just not going away. So if you see this eye tearing up, I don't know what the hell's going on. It might be an infection or it might just be like just allergies. Oh, I've been putting eye drops, but anyway, besides the point. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a very interesting topic to discuss. Growing up in a South Asian culture, these things are just, I briefly mentioned it in one of my previous videos. I have been classified as a bad mother, and I'll tell you why, because I am not your typical, South Asian mom. But, it's what you want to do with your life. It's nobody's business, and I have written down 18 different reasons why some mothers are considered bad moms in our culture. I am from Sri Lanka originally. For those of you who don't know, I have a 2.5-year-old, well, almost a 2.5-year-old son, and I am expecting a baby girl in November. Due soon, expecting her any day. Whenever she's ready, we're ready. So yeah, I have a great blessed life that I'm really happy in, and our kids are everything to me and my husband, and as it is for most of the parents in this world. So yeah, now in our culture things are pretty strict, but you know what, as the time has gone on, now it's like 2020, lots of young people don't care about what the older generations say. They just do whatever they want, which is perfect. I'm all for taking advices and wisdom from the older generation, like our moms and dads, mostly moms, because when it comes to raising children in Sri Lanka, they think it's mostly the mother's job while the dad earns, so which is part of the problem. But when I become a parent, unless I ask for your help, do not come to my house and think that you can change things around. That is not how it works. I became a mother. I want to do it my way, and how me and my husband have discussed, we want to raise our kids the way we want. If we do need help, we will ask, So I think everybody should have that mentality, but a lot of Sri Lankan parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, the older generation, they think that they have the right to this child, and just come and try to change things around and tell you otherwise, which is really annoying. And people should know boundaries, because we don't go to random people's houses and be like, hey, you're not doing that properly, you shouldn't be doing that, unless it's dangerous for the child. If you see like abuse or something, sure, speak up. But if they're doing something their way, don't try to tell them they're wrong. If you think there are certain things that are wrong, you can express your feelings, but don't try to be like, hey, you're an idiot of a mother because you're doing that. Like, that's really disrespectful, and you should always respect others' boundaries. Okay, so I have 18 reasons why a woman can be considered as a bad mother in Sri Lanka. And this is not just in Sri Lanka. I have come across Facebook posts, YouTube videos, and other social media where lots of women bringing down other women, or mothers bringing down other mothers, mostly because they have a one-track mind. They're stuck in this tunnel vision and they can't see the world in a different light. So in Sri Lanka, mostly when a couple gets married, sometimes even on their wedding day, other people are not shy to go up to the couple and ask, hey, so when are you planning to have kids? and they're literally trying to just enjoy their wedding day and go on their honeymoon. But you know, people think that it's okay to just pop the question. And most of these people are people who will see you never, and some of them will see you like once a year, once a month, you know. So even if we have a child or not, it's literally like not concerning to them, because it's like you're not even around to help or for anything, so why are you even asking? So anyway, that's one thing I don't understand. But that's like, you know, and if you take a couple of years, you just want to travel, or you're focused on your careers, or you just want to enjoy each other's company, people start making rumors about you, or you know, say things behind your back, such as like, oh, you know, she can't get pregnant. It's always her fault. Nobody ever blames the guy. Nobody ever even thinks that the guy could have a problem. It's always her, you know. So then if you actually can't get pregnant naturally, then there's like this big issue about why, and you know, how terrible it is. Oh, we are so sad, you know, blah blah blah, and all of these questions. So instantly you are considered a bad mother because you can't carry your own child, or you can't get pregnant, you can't carry your own child, or you know, you have to take like you had to have a surrogate, or you're adopting, or any other, or you had to do IVF. They call it test tube babies, or petri dish babies, which is very insulting in this day and age. I just don't understand. And if you have adopted a child, everyone's like saying things like, oh, you know, they adopted the child, you know, like she couldn't get pregnant. Like, it's such a big deal, and I just don't understand why they do that. It's just awful. There are people who go through like 10-15 years trying to have a child of their own, and these people are making it worse for them. Do you know how hard it is to go through something like that personally, the mental toll it takes, and then to hear other people say crap about you? It's just awful. You know, be a supportive person and encourage them, or you know, give them resources where they can get some help, and or just leave them alone. It's their thing, their life, they'll figure it out, you know. And this one's really funny. So if you're having like a difficult pregnancy, then people make comments like, oh, you know, when I was pregnant, I didn't have those symptoms. I don't know why you're having that symptom. Like, it's a bit bizarre, you know. Or your belly is showing too early. Oh, you know, it's because you were fat before. That's why you're showing early. I got that a lot because with both of my pregnancies, I started showing really early, in like the 6-week mark. I started showing, and everyone's like, oh, why is that? You know, like, oh my gosh, is that natural? Are you doing it? Are you pretending? How can I pretend to have a big belly unless I'm like tying like a pillow? I don't get it. It's just so many things, like bloating, the fluid, hormones, so many things can make you have a big belly. Even though your baby is like a poppy seed, all of these things, like, just don't make comments about pregnant people's bellies. Like, it's just so disrespectful, you know. And like, oh, you've gotten fat so quickly, like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so hard to lose all that weight. And then if you are having a really easy pregnancy, then everyone's like, oh, do you not have morning sickness? Oh, do you not have back pain? How come? It's really weird. Is something wrong? Is something going on? Are you still pregnant? Like, some people have very easy pregnancies. Like, my first pregnancy was a breeze up until probably like the 30th week, I want to say. And after that, it was like gestational diabetes and this and that, all the, you know, drama in the world. But the first trimester was so much fun. All I did was eat and sleep. You know, that's all I wanted to do, and that's all I did. Second trimester was pretty much similar, but then, you know, reflux and all these things came along. And this pregnancy was so difficult. From the beginning, I had morning sickness and I lost all of my appetite. I couldn't eat and I was just suffering throughout the whole thing, you know. It's different for everybody and it's different for each person each time they are pregnant. So, you know, it could be so difficult, it could be so easy, but it is none of anybody else's business, is what I'm saying. And then let's say you go through the whole pregnancy and then eventually you're at the end point and you are going to have your baby. If you don't end up having your baby naturally, that is a big deal, okay? It is just, oh my God. When I was pregnant, I had people tell me that, oh, you know, try not to have a cesarean. And I was just thinking to myself, what an awful thing to say to somebody who's pregnant and who's already terrified of childbirth, to say try not to have a cesarean. You know, you want to try to have it all natural. Guess what? I was in labor for like 30 plus hours and I ended up having a cesarean. I have no control of how the baby is gonna come or what's gonna happen medically, you know. Like, it's not like this system where, okay, this pregnancy I'm gonna have a natural birth. It's gonna happen like step by step and boom, done. No, it doesn't work like that. Just like in life, you can't have everything that you expect, you know. So if you end up having a cesarean, everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe you couldn't like push out your baby. Like, how sad, you know? Well, isn't it good that me and the baby are healthy? Like, are you kidding me, you know? So it's like this big deal. And one time when I was working over here, now this is a co-worker of mine. She's not Sri Lankan. She is a Caucasian Australian lady. And I was talking to somebody else about childbirth, and because I don't know, I don't remember the whole thing, but this lady, I don't even want to call her lady, but you know, she had the balls to turn around and say, what do you know about childbirth? You didn't push your kid out. You had a cesarean. And because I'm not very confrontational, I just kept my mouth shut. But I came home and I cried the whole evening, and my husband was there trying to comfort me, and I just felt like my whole world collapsed, you know. It was the worst thing to tell a mother who's had a very traumatic childbirth. Like, you don't just go up to people and say, hey, you don't know what childbirth's like because you haven't pushed your kid out. And this woman had an epidural, you know, during her labor, and she's so proud of it. But, you know, she's the kind of person who would say shit to other people. But, you know, like you didn't have pain either because you had an epidural. Like, what the heck? You know, that was your choice, and this wasn't even my choice. Like, I just had to have a cesarean because I had no choice. I had tried for 30 hours. I just, you know, nothing was happening. So those kind of ignorant, rude comments can, you can keep it to yourself and just, you know, not let it out of your mouth. It's really easy to keep quiet, actually. But yeah, that was one of the, and that wasn't even from like a Sri Lankan person, which really shocked me. So yeah. And then the other thing is, if you can't breastfeed, you're a bad mom. I'm on this mothers group, and it's so funny when some ladies come and ask for like questions about formula feeding. All these other moms have the need to come and comment and say, hey, have you tried breastfeeding? The question literally says, hey, I have a question about formula feeding. My son or daughter has a reflux issue and he or she is on formula, exclusively on formula. So do you think, is there another brand of formula that I can use? What are the remedies around it, and blah, blah, blah. And some moms come and comment, breastfeeding is the best, you should try, go see a doctor, they can give you medication. Like, are you dumb? Can you read? Can you read what she's asking? You know, it's a question about formula, not about breastfeeding. First of all, not everybody can breastfeed, okay? If you can, fantastic, great for you, you know? And not everybody chooses to breastfeed, and that's none of your business because that's a personal choice. I tried breastfeeding for 2 months and I couldn't, so I had to, you know, give my son formula, like top him up a little bit with formula. I expressed every 2 hours for 2 long as months, and trust me, my mental health was bad. It got from bad to worse because of that, and I just didn't want to quit. And my husband was like, no, you are not putting yourself through this, stop it right now, and let's just exclusively formula feed him. And that's what we did, and oh my god, the change it did to me was amazing. But you know what, everybody around me was complaining because I wasn't breastfeeding. It's just terrible. It's really, really, really terrible. There's nothing wrong with formula. The only thing you need to be concerned about is feeding your baby anything, you know, like anything approved, obviously, whether it be breast milk or formula milk, like it doesn't matter, you know. There could be numerous reasons why people cannot breastfeed. They don't produce enough milk, or they've had a traumatic birth experience, you know. Cesareans can make you like longer to produce breast milk, or it might never come at all, like it happened to me. You might have had a, you know, breast cancer issue and you can't physically breastfeed because you don't have breast. Like, you can't just go up to people and be like, hey, why are you bottle feeding, when you don't know the backstory. So keep your mouth shut. It is very rude, and fed is best, okay? Any which way, breastfed or formula fed, fed is best. And when husbands help too much with the baby, because in my culture it's considered a mother's job, and this goes hand in hand. Like, if your husband is a stay-at-home dad and you're the one who's going to work, oh, that's a big issue. Like, oh, you know, they'll name call him because he doesn't have balls. He's the one who's staying home looking after the kids, you know, while she's the man, she wears the pants in the family, blah 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 blah. No, it's their choice what they want to do. It's not up to you to decide what this family is going to do so it's socially acceptable to you. That's not how these things work, you know. It's ridiculous. And also there's a really bad you know, thing around single moms, obviously, or if you've gotten pregnant out of wedlock. And you know, I think it's like that in every country, not just in Sri Lanka, but it's a lot more in Sri Lanka. You know, it could be due to numerous issues, you know. It could be by choice, it could be I don't want to say an accident, because you obviously know you're having sex unprotected, you know. It just could be one of those slip-ups, you know, or you could have you're a rape victim and you ended up getting pregnant. So, you know, isn't it better that the mom decided to keep the baby without killing it by abortion, and have the baby and raise it alone, than killing it? You know, like, you should appreciate that more than the women who think that it's okay to kill a child that is inside them. It's just, yeah, it's just crazy to me. And the other thing was that I started work really early because I found a new job, and my son was 8 weeks old, and initially my mom was very nice enough to babysit him all 5 days, and then when he was about, I think, 3 months old, I had to put him into a home daycare, which looked like the best option at the time. And I did that, and so many, I got so many comments about how cruel of a mother I am to be going to work that early and blah blah blah. And yeah, and my husband was very angry this particular day when somebody made a comment about that. And yeah, it was just awful. What people don't understand is that when both parents are going to work, they're actually doing a good thing for their family, because they want to give their kids a better life. That's why both of them go to work. So there's nothing wrong with that. If you can afford to be a stay-at-home mom, by all means, you know, please do. But if you can go out, work, and help out your husband financially, that's great too, you know. And husbands go to work and then help out with the household and with the babies. So, you know, it's a 50-50. So if you are a stay-at-home mom, obviously you'll do more of the household work because your husbands are working full-time, you know. And some families, I know husbands work like 2 or 3 jobs just to provide for the family because the mothers want to be stay-at-home moms. It's just, it all depends on what you want to do with your own life and with your own family. I came across this when my son was younger. I was searching on YouTube to, like, you know, what to prep for my toddler, like recipe ideas and things like that. And I came across this video of this lady making a pitcher of a formula every morning and put it in the fridge, so whenever it's feeding time for her son, she pours it onto into his bottle and warms it up, and then the baby drink it. And she sometimes gives the baby cold refrigerated milk because he doesn't seem to mind it, you know. And I've done that a couple of times as well. There's no, like, you know, when they're like super little, I understand it should be a little warm, but you know, it doesn't really have to be. After they're like 6 months old, you can give them cold milk if they like it, you know, especially in the summer. It's super hot and it would make them cool down and more comfortable. And my son really like to drink cold milk. Even now he asks if he wants, like, whenever he prefers like hot milk, he'll say hot milk or cold milk, whatever he prefers on that day. And the comments on this video was really, really, really bad. Everybody called her a lazy mother because she made a pitcher of formula in the morning instead of doing like making it whenever the child needs. I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with that. I meal prep for my son's lunches, and I sometimes meal prep for his breakfast as well. During dinner, when he was younger, I used to meal prep his lunches and dinners, and because I was working outside of home. Now that I'm working from home, it's easy for me to just meal prep the breakfast and lunch, and then for dinner I always make something for him. So it just depends on what your situation is. And so many people have criticized me for freezing his food and just saying like, oh, you're giving him frozen food. Like, but I made it. It's like the healthiest thing ever, you know. Like, you cannot find these anywhere else. It's super healthy. I always make sure he has enough proteins and vitamins and carbs and everything that he needs, you know. So it doesn't matter if you're meal prepping or not. Just your child is fed, he's growing up, and that's all that matters, you know. And it's just really funny when people think that, you know, unless you make fresh food for every meal, you're a bad mom. So yeah, it's I don't know. And there are certain things like, you know, if you don't spend too much money and give like 10,000 gifts for their birthday, or you know, you decide to be a minimalistic family and then don't go spend money in Myers or Pumpkin Patch or I don't know, wherever else these other women go, Bonds and buy like, you know, a t-shirt for $50 for your toddler who's gonna grow out of it in 3 months. Like, that's a big issue. Like, oh my gosh, you're so cheap. Like, put him in better clothes. For what? For him to play in dirt and roll around in sand all day? No, you know, he can wear Kmart clothes. Nobody cares. We obviously don't care. And then he'll grow out of it in few months, and then you'll buy him new clothes. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And just because we don't buy him like, you know, 10 toys at once, it's not like we're depriving him of anything. You know, we are providing for his needs. You know, it's just we don't want to spend money unnecessarily. You know, we would rather put it in his bank account so he can use it in the future. And this is also another thing was having lavish birthday parties. It's such a big thing in Sri Lanka these days that, you know, you hire a hotel and then have your child's first birthday. It's like a wedding. I swear, like 100 people turn up and there's a buffet, and the birthday kid is usually asleep in the corner and everyone else is having alcohol and eating buffet and dancing, and the kid has no idea, and the cake is like a wedding cake that's just like, you know, 2 or 3 tiers high. Like, why? You're torturing the kid. Really, he would rather be sleeping at home, you know, than sleeping in a function hall. I don't get it. So we try to have like a little gathering or nothing at all, you know. It's just so pointless, honestly. Oh, the other big thing was sleep training your baby. So most Sri Lankan families co-sleep with their baby until they're 18. Or even longer if they're not married and staying home. And we've decided to sleep train our baby. When he was about 8 weeks old, I put him down for a nap in his cot, okay, in the evening, and just to get the ball rolling to see if he'll even like it. He slept for like 4 hours, okay, and then it was like 7:30 at night, and me and my husband said, hey, do you want to, like, you know, feed him, change him, do all that, and then put him back in the cot and see how he'll do. We both agreed. And so we did his routine and then put him, like, swaddled him and put him back in the cot, and he slept for another 4 hours. And ever since then, he's just been sleeping in his own room by himself, no light, in the darkness. He loves it, you know. But this is an issue for other people, because we are neglecting our child apparently, you know. Oh, poor him, sleeping by himself, blah 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 blah. I don't know why you want to torture yourself by keeping your toddler or your preteen in your bed when your marriage is falling apart. Most people complain saying that, oh, ever since we had kids, we haven't had a proper marriage life. Well, duh, your kid sleeps in the middle of you two, so how are you going to have a marriage life, you know? Because most moms in Sri Lanka, after they have the kid, they neglect the husband. They just pretend like the husband doesn't exist anymore. You know, I'll cook for you, you stay away from me. You know, I have the child, I'm carrying the child 24/7, I'm sleeping with the child 24/7. Like, no, there should be a balance. This is another whole other video which I'll get into later. So yeah, but it's a big thing, and I think kids should be sleep trained. Probably not as early as 8 weeks, because we didn't sleep train him. You're not supposed to sleep train any child under 6 months because their brain haven't developed, and it's not recommended at all. So don't even try to sleep train your 6-month-old or under. But if they willingly go to sleep for a good chunk of time, then put them in the cot so you can get a proper rest rather than worrying about the child that's sleeping next to you. This is a whole other video that I actually have planned. It's basically on what you feed your children. If you have if you're a vegetarian, a vegan, or a meat eater, or whatever. This is a whole other. I am a pescatarian. My husband is a meat eater. but we have decided together that we are going to raise our child to be a pescatarian as well, and this has sparked a lot of issues you know, over time, and it's still our choice, it's still what we do, and it's just a matter of I don't know, people not understanding that you don't have to eat meat to get protein, you know. This is another topic which I will discuss in a different video, but that has been one of the issues. So dietary requirements around your children, and yeah, this also the, you know, feeding your children sugar and salt and things like that, it falls under the same category. So I'll do a separate video for that. And the other thing in Sri Lanka is that if you're a family who has a child and decide that's all you want to do, you know, like you don't know the reason, they just don't want to have any more kids, they're just happy with one, and other people have a big issue as to why they don't want to have more than one child, and they'll just be like, oh, you know, poor child, he's just suffering alone and blah 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 blah. But it's their choice, so why don't you respect that and back the hell off. I didn't go through all 18 reasons because the video is getting super long, and it's gonna get to a point where it's super boring. So yeah, but my advice to everybody is, if it's not your child, if it's not your life, you have no right to make judgments, comments, pass your opinions, and say rude things, okay? If everybody just minds their own business and respect the boundaries, then you know, it doesn't matter if it's your family, close friends, whoever, it can be anybody. If it's not your family and you don't live with them 24/7 and you don't know what goes behind that closed doors, don't think you have any right to say anything at all about having a child, raising a child, parenting, their feeding, like anything at all. It is not up to you. It is up to the parents. It's up to the couple. It's up to the single mother or the single father. It's up to that individual and that family what they want to do with their life. It is nobody else's business. So if you respect other people's boundaries, life would be much easier for you and for the people who doesn't have to listen to all this crap all day long when they're trying their best to be good parents. Okay, there is no such thing as a bad parent unless you are abusing your kids, or you are taking drugs and alcohol and neglecting your children. You know, like if you're none of that and you are a genuine person who cares for your kids and loves them and provides for them and parent them the right way, that's all that matters. So all of you are doing a fabulous job, and be proud of who you are, who you have become. You're doing great and continue to do so. Thank you so much for watching my very long video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.